that working? Yes? You can hear me? Okay, okay, great. Just get a Okay, first of all, I just wanted to apologize. The person who was supposed to be presenting this, Justine Sass, was unfortunately not able to be here today. So please excuse me if I misread anything I'm presenting on her behalf. So in my presentation today, I'm going to share to you the key findings of a number of briefs that were prepared by the International Association for the Evaluation of Educational Achievement and UNESCO. We've done research which is aimed at trying to gain a better understanding of the underrepresentation of girls and women in STEM studies and careers, which we obviously heard about this morning. So this research has resulted in 3 policy briefs, each looking at a different level within the STEM ecological framework to better identify and understand the factors that influence girls' participation, achievement, and progression in STEM, looking at teachers, students, and parents. Now, I think you all know these figures. STEM fields, we know that women are grossly underrepresented in them. They account for only 28% of engineering graduates and 40% of computer science and informatics graduates in 2018. This is despite the fact that girls generally outperform boys in science in secondary school in many countries. So while boys do tend to do better in mathematics at an early age, on average they lose their advantage later on in school. Boys are basically more confident in mathematics than girls. Gender stereotypes in science and maths also play an important role in shaping the educational experiences and career choices of girls and boys. The perpetuation of these biases by teachers, peers, and parents can lead to disparities in the participation of girls and boys in STEM, affecting not only their school and career performances, but also hindering their personal development. And failing to address these gender disparities at all levels can result in the loss of valuable talent, which I think we're all aware of. So, in order to be able to better understand this phenomenon, UNESCO and the IEA looked at 3 specific themes. First of all, the relationship between teachers' gender and students' maths and science achievement, as well as gender differences in science and maths teachers' self-efficacy or confidence, and in relation to job satisfaction. Second of all, the connection between students' gender, their confidence and achievement in mathematics and science, and their aspirations to pursue careers in those fields. And third, gender differences in parental involvement with their child's education, as measured through participation in early home learning activities. So the 3 briefs draw from data collected during 2015 and the 2019 cycles of TIMSS. Sorry, I've been trying to go too fast in order to be able to not use up all of my 10 minutes, but I will slow down. Supplemented by additional questionnaires. Now, to explore the relationship between teachers' gender and students' maths and science achievement, the TIMSS 2015 data was used to assess the maths and science achievement of 580,000 students in 63 education systems in 4th grade and 8th grade. The TIMSS Teachers Questionnaire was also used to determine the level of self-efficacy and job satisfaction among teachers. Now, in order to analyze the relationship between students' gender, their confidence and achievement in maths and science, and their career aspirations, we used data from the 8th grade TIMSS from 2019 to assess students' achievements in maths and science. In addition, we had an additional student questionnaire from 45 education systems to gauge students' level of agreement with the idea of pursuing jobs involving maths or science. This sample was divided based on the median achievement in education systems into low and high achievers. Finally, for the study of gender differences in early learning activities with parental involvement, data from the 4th grade TIMSS was used along with a home questionnaire focusing on the responses from parents or guardians of the students who were being assessed. The questionnaire records the frequency of participation in different learning activities with their child before the entry into primary education, so what we heard about with regards to early childhood education. A regression model was applied to measure the relationship between the use of early learning activities and maths and science achievement. Now, the key findings. Overall, this research indicates the existence of gender differences among the different themes identified, meaning that we need a comprehensive approach to address gaps in STEM education, focusing on teachers, students, and parents. This is important because the three dimensions are interconnected, as you can see in the figure. Teachers, peers, and parents play an essential role in the maths and science achievement and confidence of girls and boys, as well as in their career aspirations. As regards teachers, the data from the first study suggests that the gender of the teacher actually doesn't have much of a direct relationship with students' performance in science and maths, because students taught by female teachers were found to perform just as well as, if not better, than their peers taught by male teachers in most cases. But we did see significant differences in reported levels of self-efficacy between male and female science teachers, with male teachers reporting higher levels. In maths, fewer education systems show statistically significant gender differences, but when they do exist, they're predominantly associated with higher reported levels among male teachers. This becomes pertinent because teachers' self-efficacy is found to correlate with their job satisfaction, with a greater influence on female teachers than on their male counterparts. And lastly, the study highlights the strong relationship between students' self-efficacy and academic achievement, which aligns with the findings of other studies. As regards students, so in terms of the connection between achievement and confidence, the second study showed that boys' and girls' aspirations to work in the field of maths are strongly associated with confidence, and I think this is also something that we heard this morning. In almost all of the education systems that were studied, boys reported significantly more often than girls that they would like to pursue a job that involves maths, since they feel much more confident in the area than girls. On the other hand, for science, boys and girls had around equal levels of confidence. But when science was then divided into specific subjects, we saw gender differences re-emerge, especially in physics, where boys were much more confident than girls. On the other hand, girls were much more confident in biology. The gender gap was less pronounced in chemistry and earth science. Now, for parents. So this third study on early learning activities showed that children of parents who were engaged more often in early home learning activities achieved higher results in maths and science in TIMS at the 4th grade, not really a surprise. This is true for both literacy and numeracy. In addition, the involvement of children in these activities can influence their attitudes and interests in learning in these fields, which of course has a big impact on the child's education. Girls are found to be more often engaged and in a wider variety in learning activities with their parents before primary school than boys, who tended to be more engaged in numeracy skill-based activities. Now, the study found that the only one activity listed on the TIMS questionnaire where parents were more likely to engage with boys was playing with building blocks and construction toys. So although there aren't any significant gender differences in early literacy activities and achievement in maths or science, an increase in early numeracy activities has been found to have a significantly higher positive effect on boys' maths and science achievement compared with that of girls. This is consistent with the fact that spatial skills are relevant to predict competencies in maths, and that research, as we know, also shows that play experiences with construction toys, with building blocks, can close this gender gap. And this figure shows you the frequency of participation in home learning activities by sex. You probably can't see it, but I'm assuming that you'll be able to receive the presentation afterwards. So what are the implications? Well, based on the research findings, we have come up with a series of implications. First of all, teachers' self-efficacy has an impact on their own students' belief in themselves. So this effect is specifically strong for female teachers in science and maths, and this can affect girls' motivation in those subjects and in turn in pursuing STEM careers. Self-efficacy is also related to job satisfaction, especially for female teachers, which has an important impact, obviously, on teachers' and students' well-being. Regarding students' self-assessment of their competencies, we believe that this strongly determines their participation and career interests in maths and science. And the presence of disparities between girls and boys means that we're losing talent due to this gender gap. The study found that confidence is a critical element in shaping career aspirations, and that gender disparities are especially strong in maths, resulting in boys being more confident than girls. Sometimes, in fact, this can even lead boys to be overconfident, which can be counterproductive for their performance in higher education. And finally, early learning activities, we found, were very important for students' performance in maths and science, regardless of gender, because they foster abilities to understand problems related to shapes, forms, and physical spaces. But parents tend to focus on numeracy activities, especially with their sons, skills that girls are therefore not given the opportunity to develop equally, even though their parents actually engage with them more often and in a more varied way. So what does this mean for policies? We believe that there are several recommendations that can be made. First of all, professional training programs tailored to enhance both male and females' self-efficacy and confidence need to address issues related to job satisfaction and overall teacher well-being, such as working conditions and school climate. And I'm sure that the many teachers here at Fawe will agree. School administrators also play a role in the development of teachers' self-efficacy and their job satisfaction. Teachers need to feel valued, and their work has to be recognized. Professional and administrative support has also been shown to improve teachers' self-efficacy. I have to go quickly. Okay, I'll be very quick. Second of all, we need policy interventions to address gendered view in STEM subjects, specifically targeting maths and physics. And I think you can read on the screen now. And then we have a series of recommendations here with regards to students, which again you can read, and I know that we really don't have very much time. Just lastly to say that please download our publications that you can see here, and feel free to come up to me and I can give you the links as well. Thank you.
Now we have Karanja, come please forward and give us your presentation. You have 10 minutes. We'll take questions later. If you have any questions, just write them down.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So I'm going to continue from where my colleague Elspeth has stopped, but now looking at the interventions, specific interventions UNESCO has been doing with regards to encouraging women and girls in the STEM fields. Just a little bit of some statistics and some profiling. And just to confirm what some of the keynote speakers today mentioned, with regards to demographics, the projects that UNESCO has been involved in and what I'm presenting to you today, we had 4 countries that we used to pilot, and this is Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. And if you look at the population profile as well as the location in terms of urban or rural, you basically see that the profile is fundamentally the same, for the 4 countries. When it comes to the age, you remember one of the presenters did mention that Africa enjoys a youthful population, and that is confirmed by the 4 project countries. We have a youthful population of below 20 years, even in the 4 project countries. With regards to population under 18 years, again, we are able to see by sex, both, or rather the 4 countries, again, we have 50-50%, both boys and girls, in terms of age under 18 years. When it comes to skills profiling, and this is more specifically to do with technology. We're basically saying when it comes to the penetration or access to technology, you find that when we are talking about mobile ownership, for instance, or internet access, again, we have a very, very similar landscape in the 4 countries. So a challenge of technology access, which does have implications in terms of what we are able to do with the technology, and taking into consideration the youthful population that is technology savvy. So again, an issue there that needs to be addressed by our policymakers. Because when you look at the digital skills ecosystems, we move from basic to intermediate and advanced. And if we are going to have skill sets and knowledge, for our youth and our population that is going to be aligned to the 21st century, then we have a lot of work to do in that regard. And so we recognize that digital skills are actually also an enabler of STEM skills, and therefore these go hand in hand. So we cannot talk about advancing STEM skills and then we leave behind, the digital skills. They go hand in hand. And so with regards to the aim of the UNESCO STEM Girls program, we have 4 basic aims. One is to educate and nurture secondary school girls through STEM ICT subjects. We also recognize that it is impossible to encourage our girls to take up STEM subjects if they do not have anyone to identify with. And therefore, one of the other key objectives is to actually have role models and mentors who the girls can associate with. The other thing is about also information awareness. In most cases, we assume that our girls, as much as they are going through schooling, they have knowledge about what STEM careers entail. And so one of the other key objectives that we have with regards to one of these interventions is to actually empower the girls and inform them about what it takes to, to uptake STEM education or careers. And lastly, but not least, the other thing we also recognize, we are in the technology era, and therefore exposing them to the emerging technologies of artificial intelligence, robotics, and coding, has been one of also interventions that we have been doing. And so with regard to the UNESCO STEM suite of interventions, we have 3 main interventions. That's the gender responsive STEM and digital skills education, the STEM ICT boot camps, this is for the girls. And then last but not least, we also recognize the role advocacy and knowledge generation does, to the entire, ecosystem of the interventions. And on I think it's on your right-hand side, we are seeing the modules that associated with the gender responsive STEM and digital skills. That's basically for the teachers, where the teachers are taken through STEM education, gender and STEM education, among many other modules. Because again, we also recognize that it is important, as we empower our girls in the STEM fields, we also need to empower our teachers. And so these 2 cohorts within the education landscape are very key. When it comes to the digital STEM education mentorship ecosystem actors, again, with regards to the project that we have been doing, our target groups are mainly teachers and students. And then we also appreciate the role, the enablers who are the mentors and role models, parents, guardians, and communities, as well as governments and partners play. Because we also know that it would be impossible to actually realize all this if we don't bring all these stakeholders together. And therefore, the model that we have with regards to the digital STEM education within UNESCO takes up that particular or that model. Like I've mentioned, we have 2 trainings or 2 interventions that we've had. One for the girls and the other one for the teachers. Now, this is for the girls, and the girls that we target are secondary school girls, because we realize that this is where the intervention needs to go. This is where girls make a decision whether they want to go non-STEM or they want to go STEM. And so when it comes to our 1 week long boot camp, actually it is a boot camp. It's like a military camp because it is quite involving. By the end of the 5th day, the girls are already exhausted as much as they have enjoyed the boot camp. We take them through all this. We also note that there is a mistake there. That should be enabler, not Uganda. We have actually organized this mentorship into like 4 main areas, thematic areas. One, we are saying we do career talks in STEM. And these career talks in STEM are in the sciences and mathematics. So we identify female mentors who have actually succeeded in the sciences and mathematics. And they actually talk to the girls so that the girls are able to identify with them. And they see, yes, if that lady is actually a physicist or an aeronautical engineer, then I can also make it. We also have applied sciences as well as emerging fields like climatology, innovations, among many other, emerging fields. Coding and robotics, because our boot camps are actually STEM and ICT boot camps. We do mobile application development, robotics, 3D, as well as AI. And at the end of it all, we also realize that we're actually dealing with human beings. Remember, they also need soft skills. They need to know, how do we navigate through all this? It is a very different landscape. Moving from one country to the other, you find that they are unique challenges. And so we don't forget to bring on board, life and survival skills, as well as, helping them to make career choices in STEM as well as ICT. At the end of the 5 day, we also challenge the girls to identify, real life problems in wherever they come from. And they see how can they use technology or STEM, to solve, these kind of real life challenges where they come from. So that is the model that we use for the STEM boot camps. So this has been the milestone in terms of the project that started in April 2023. In terms of implementation, the project had started much earlier in terms of planning. In April 2023, we had the Rwanda STEM ICT Bootcamp. June, July, we went to Kenya STEM Bootcamp. In terms of, in September, we had the United Republic of Tanzania as well as Uganda. So this has been the milestones that we have achieved with regards to these interventions. So this is just basically to give you an overview of what has been covered so far, the 4 project countries, and the number of girls that were mentored in the 4 countries, and just to give you more details. So you can see there, we also had these, whatever the girls are holding there, just to encourage them and to help them appreciate that actually STEM and ICT is important. So like that one talks about ICT skills do multiply girls' dreams. So this is just an example of the coverage in terms of where we covered in Rwanda. You can see it's towards the north. We had 108 girls drawn from 27 schools, 15 teachers, 25 facilitators, that included mentors, role models, as well as trainers. In Kenya, we had 98 girls who were mentored from 18 schools, 19 teachers, 25 facilitators, again, including role models, trainers, and other facilitators coming from different institutions. In Tanzania, we mentored 126 girls, and you can see the statistics are very different in terms of the coverage and also the mentors and all that. So the girls were drawn from 20 schools, and the other numbers speak for themselves. In Uganda, we had 100 girls from 20 schools, 15 teachers, 12 mentors, role models, as well as facilitators and trainers. When it comes to the gender-responsive STEM education and digital skills, this is for teachers. This was done for Kenya within the same time frame. We had 41 teachers nominated by the Teacher Service Commission, drawn from 41 countries, and we had 16 teachers who accompanied the girls for the STEM ICT also attended, because for the Kenyan scenario, we held the two trainings in the same place. So the teachers who accompanied the girls also took advantage, and they also went through the training. And we thought that was a win-win sort of situation. So these are the statistics in terms of the coverage, in terms of the gender-responsive training for the 4 project countries. For Tanzania, this was done in 2021, 41 teachers were trained. In Rwanda, 49 teachers were trained in 2021. In Uganda, 2022, 42 teachers were trained. And in Kenya, like I've said, 41 teachers were trained. We also wanted to find out, after going all through this, what was the feedback, from the participants? And so we took through, the participants do some sort of evaluation, and we wanted to find out what they felt about all the areas of training. And you can see the graphs more or less have the same sort of, assume the same shape, meaning that the training basically, had a very good response or had some impact to the participants. And most importantly, when you look at the coding and robotics, that actually confirms we are dealing with a tech-savvy generation, and so they were all excited about this particular training that took 2 days. For the gender-responsive STEM and digital skills education, again, we also wanted to have an idea of how the teachers felt about the training, and we did some quick evaluation, and that's basically how the teachers responded. Again, very positive response with some small variation, but everything was above average. So again, there is thirst for gender-responsive training and with regards to STEM and ICT skills. So as I conclude, one, we are saying this multidimensional approach in terms of interventions for the boot camps as well as the gender-responsive training for the teachers is something that needs to be upscaled, and this was actually something that we got also from the feedback. And again, we are also seeing a situation where the post-training evaluations and interviews found that students were able to identify with the mentors and role models. And I think that was something that we really wanted to achieve. And lastly, we also realized that there is no one, fit model for the different training programs, because every country is unique. And we realized that it is important to understand, to have a user needs assessment for each of the country where this training is advanced, so that we are able to achieve the end goal. The other thing is about harmonizing, the digital skills training, because every trainer will come with their own modules, and it's important for us to have guidelines that harmonize this training. And lastly, you're also not assuming that mentors and role models know what to mentor. So again, this is something we want to take up and see whether we can be able to have a program that trainers and mentors can actually go through before sharing their mentorship. Thank you very much.
Applause, please. I think we'll have more time for questions later, so that the time that we do not get, the time that we wait for you, we'll be able to elaborate. Now, we are a lucky group. We are going to have a third presenter. So that means it's going to eat into our discussions time, as well as the plenary session time. I have the pleasure to invite Camille Badini. He is the coordinator for Fawe in Burkina Faso, and he has a good presentation. You have 10 minutes. Vous avez 10 minutes.
D'accord.
Bienvenue, madame.
Okay.
Plus, my French is holding.
Bonjour, c'est toutes et c'est tous. Donc, comme le présentateur a mentionné, donc, moi je m'appelle Banili N. Kami. Donc, je suis le coordonnateur national de Fawe Burkina, l'antenne nationale du Burkina Faso du Forum des éducatrices africaines. Donc, rapidement, je m'en vais vous présenter un aperçu d'une expérience. Donc, il s'agit d'une expérience dans l'estime que l'antenne a eu à réaliser, à capitaliser, et avec l'appui financier de la Banque islamique et de développement. Donc, c'était la première phase. Il s'agissait du projet d'amélioration de la participation des performances des filles dans les filières scientifiques dans 5 établissements scolaires du post-primaire au Burkina Faso. Donc, c'était une première expérience et, disons, une première phase. Donc, rapidement, nous allons voir ce qui a été réalisé comme principaux résultats et les difficultés rencontrées, les recommandations. Diapo. Donc, voici le plan de la communication. Nous allons voir le contexte et justification du projet, l'expérience en partenariat et les principales réalisations, ça veut dire les réussites, et les difficultés rencontrées, l'apprentissage, les enseignements tirés et les recommandations pour les prochaines phases. Donc, au niveau du contexte et justification, il faudra retenir seulement que selon le rapport mondial, le rapport de la Banque mondiale de 2014, pour atteindre ces engagements, l'Afrique a besoin d'une masse critique de capital humain hautement qualifié. Pourtant, il existe une grave pénurie d'ingénieurs, mais aussi des scientifiques, des professionnels de santé, des techniciens dans la quasi-totalité des 48 pays d'Afrique subsaharienne. En fait, l'Afrique subsaharienne a besoin de 2,5 millions d'ingénieurs supplémentaires pour faire face aux problèmes de développement les plus graves du continent. Donc c'est un rapport, ça c'est au niveau Afrique. Donc nous allons rapidement voir au niveau du Burkina Faso. Le précédent plan sectoriel de l'éducation, le PPS, du Burkina Faso 2012-2021 révèle que seuls 26% des élèves étudient les STEAM. En ce qui concerne plus particulièrement les FTP, l'enseignement et la formation technique et professionnelle, la participation des filles s'élève à 4%, alors que le pays espérait atteindre 9%. En outre, le PSG actuel 2017-2020 révèle que seuls 100 candidats sur 7000 ont réussi leur diplôme en mathématiques pures. Donc voici un peu la situation du contexte du Burkina Faso qui nécessite à ce qu'on intervienne, en tout cas sur les STEAM. Diapo. Le point de l'expérience en partenariat, premièrement, c'est en ce qui concerne le gouvernement. Qu'est-ce que le projet nous a permis? En tout cas, le projet nous a permis d'avoir comme renforcement du partenariat entre Fawe Burkina et le gouvernement burkinabé. Donc, le projet a permis une ouverture et une implication effective du gouvernement du Burkina Faso dans la réalisation des activités du Fawe Burkina en général, à travers, entre autres, la contribution. Le Trésor public du Burkina Faso a contribué à hauteur de 20% au budget du projet. Donc, nous avons reçu le projet et il fallait que l'international, la contribution du bénéficiaire, l'international contribue à 20% du budget global du projet. Donc, nous avons sollicité l'accompagnement du gouvernement du Burkina Faso qui a intervenu à travers le Trésor public pour pouvoir nous permettre de combler ce budget-là. La mise en place, le gouvernement, les ministères concernés par le projet, chaque ministère concerné par le projet, le gouvernement a mis en place des points focaux d'une façon officielle. C'est des personnes ressources ayant les capacités nécessaires pour accompagner le projet. Donc, dans 5 ministères concernés, 5 points focaux ont été mis en place pour pouvoir accompagner la mise en œuvre du projet. Donc, au niveau des organisations de la société civile, nous avons pu mettre en place un groupe de plaidoyer Fawe Burkina pour pouvoir conduire les activités du projet. Donc, ce groupe de plaidoyer a mobilisé plusieurs associations de la société civile du Burkina Faso, plus des syndicats, des structures. Donc, c'était un groupe qui était là pour une mobilisation sociale et au niveau national, afin de mettre, puisqu'il y avait une activité de plaidoyer, afin de pouvoir avoir un moyen de pression nécessaire sur le gouvernement. Donc, voici, j'ai pris les 2 parties prenantes du projet en termes de renforcement des partenariats, ce qu'on a pu obtenir avec le gouvernement à travers ce projet et ce qu'on a pu obtenir avec les structures de la société civile partenaire à travers ce projet. Donc, les principaux résultats. Donc, nous avons essayé en tout cas de prendre quelques résultats que nous allons présenter ici. Donc, l'un des principaux résultats, c'est que le plaidoyer conduit dans le cadre du projet a permis d'insérer un module de pédagogie sensible au genre dans les curricula de formation initiale des élèves professeurs des établissements secondaires à l'Institut des sciences. Donc, ça, vraiment, c'est un grand résultat qui a été félicité au niveau national. À travers ce projet, nous avons, parce qu'à l'Institut des sciences, il n'y avait pas un module de pédagogie sensible au genre, ce qui expliquait les difficultés pour les filles et les femmes de pouvoir, en tout cas, exceller dans les sciences, les mathématiques et les technologies. Donc, à travers le projet, nous avons pu insérer un module de pédagogie sensible au genre dans les curricula de formation des professeurs, des apprenants professeurs à l'IDS. Aussi, le projet a influencé la décision, le projet a influencé la décision du gouvernement du Burkina Faso et d'octroyer des bourses d'études aux filles qui s'inscrivent dans les séries scientifiques au secondaire et au supérieur. Donc, si la période, et grâce aux actions de plaidoyer que nous avons menées, le gouvernement burkinabé a pris la décision, et lors d'un discours sur la situation de la nation, d'octroyer des bourses aux filles qui ont fait les séries scientifiques, à toutes les filles qui ont obtenu le bac scientifique, bac D, et bac C, etc. Donc, et la décision a été mise en application. Donc, si la période, la décision a été mise en application, toutes les filles qui ont obtenu, en tout cas, des bacs scientifiques au Burkina Faso sur cette période-là, ont eu des bourses de l'État pour pouvoir continuer leurs études à l'université. Une augmentation des effectifs, parce que le projet concernait 5 établissements scolaires du secondaire. Donc, sur la période, les activités que nous avons réalisées, il y a eu un dispositif de suivi. Et à un certain moment, on a remarqué qu'il y a eu une augmentation des effectifs des filles dans les options scientifiques, série A et C. Donc, ça veut dire que cela est lié surtout aux ateliers de formation des enseignants et des SMT, de ces établissements-là, sur la pédagogie sensible aux gens, les rencontres de sensibilisation avec les élèves, filles, les causeries, débats avec les femmes modèles et les marraines. Donc, nous avons mis en place des clubs tous semés dans ces 5 établissements. Dans les 5 établissements, et il y a des filles et des femmes modèles, femmes scientifiques modèles et des marraines qui ont animé des activités de sensibilisation, des séances de sensibilisation basées sur l'approche de causerie débat avec ces filles. Donc, ça a permis d'encourager ces filles à aller, à exceller dans les filières scientifiques. Diapo. Donc, toujours à travers ces activités et d'accompagnement, de sensibilisation et de renforcement des capacités, nous avons en tout cas noté aussi une amélioration des notes lors des devoirs et des examens des filles dans les sciences, mathématiques et technologies. Donc, cela est toujours lié aux activités telles que les cours d'appui que nous avons organisés, les cours d'appui sur les sciences, mathématiques et technologies que nous avons organisés au profit des filles, et les prix d'excellence, et aussi les activités au niveau des clubs tous semés. Donc, la mise en place d'un comité genre à l'Institut des sciences. Donc, suite aux activités du projet, l'Institut des sciences a décidé de mettre en place un comité genre qui va influencer toutes les activités de l'Institut. Donc, ça, c'est un changement de comportement et c'est en lien avec la durabilité du projet. Donc, je vous remercie.
Okay, now we really have a challenge. We have a challenge of time. We only have 10 minutes, 12 minutes before we enter into the common room, all of us. They said at 5. So now, I think it's fair to give the discussion time. And then after that, if there's going to be any minute left, we can take maybe 1 or 2 questions. So our discussion, just to call their names, you just raise up your hand and be seated where you are because of time. We have Camille Badini. Camille Badini, okay, the one we just presented. I would like to see whether Adasu Badiabori Francisca is here. Okay. We have Dr. Angelique Ochung, present. And then Ida Percy and Babiti Boka. Very good. So I think there's a mic in front of you. So each of you will have 5 minutes. So we'll start with Dr. Angelina Ochung right here. So please, we are not going to have 5 minutes. We give you 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, our moderator. I want to say that the discussion around the uptake of STEM and STEM-related career is huge, and we cannot tackle it within these few minutes. But I want to zero in onto the teacher. The teacher as the mentor, the teacher as the coach, the teacher as the career guider. What I've learned from my experience as a chemistry teacher from high school, tertiary college, and at the university as we're speaking, the teacher must retool. The teacher must have the practicum orientation, because for my case as a chemistry teacher, if I do a lot of theory work, then I lose the student, because such kind of discipline needs a lot of practicals. So, the teacher who is the mentor, who is the coach, need to do a lot of practicals and get that departure from theory, because the contexts are normally very abstract. And if you're gonna give it that theoretical approach, then you lose the student. It becomes boring. The student loses the interest, and in the process, we lose the student. So that is my experience.
So if you have some minutes remaining, we can always come back. So,
But again, just one more.
Yeah, one more,
But
yeah.
again, for the teacher to achieve the practicum, there is need for resources. So this is another challenge. And therefore, I want to agree with my colleagues that the uptake of STEM in girls is low. Reason, the mentor. That is from my experience. They need to retool to get that practicum approach. If there was more time, I would say more.
okay.
But because of restrictions, that is my take. Thank you.
So Babiti, you have 3 minutes and a half, if you can there, and then from there we'll come to Dr. Janvier. A question? A contribution. Let's just finish with the discussant and then we will.
Merci beaucoup. Malheureusement, le temps est très court, mais rapidement, moi, je vais partager l'expérience qu'on a vécue au Sénégal, parce que dans nos interventions, le maintien des filles dans les STEM est un défi, et on a fait beaucoup de choses sur ça. Et on agitait sur des leviers, d'abord sur les élèves, sur les enseignants, sur les parents et sur les plaidoyers envers l'État. Pour les élèves, d'abord, c'est des cours de soutien. C'est de leur créer un cadre dans les clubs Tous Aimés où elles ont été formées pour avoir l'estime de soi, la confiance en soi, pour rester à l'école et aimer les sciences. Et en plus de cela, nous avons créé des clubs Tous Aimés qui est un cadre où ces filles-là expriment leurs compétences. Et en ce qui concerne aussi les abonnés à aimer les sciences, on a ce qu'on appelle les journées carrières. On invitait des femmes, des sommités scientifiques qui ont réussi dans des domaines vraiment très pointus en sciences et qui sont issus de familles très modestes et qui viennent partager leur expérience avec ces filles-là. Et je pense que ça, c'est une bonne pratique qui permet de susciter des vocations et d'amener les filles à se dire, si elles ont réussi, pourquoi pas nous? Et nous avons aussi, ces femmes scientifiques, on a créé une brochure pour rappeler leur parcours signifiant et vraiment inspirant, pour que ça inspire ces filles-là à devenir comme elles. Nous avons agi sur les enseignants parce qu'ils ont été formés en pédagogie sensible au genre, mais on ne s'est pas arrêté seulement à la formation. On a créé des concours pour élire les meilleurs professeurs en sciences qui tiennent compte des spécificités des filles dans leurs enseignements-apprentissages et donc qui enlèvent dans leur support pédagogique, dans leur manuel, tout préjugé, tout stéréotype, tout langage qui décourage les filles à rester dans les séries scientifiques. Nous avons aussi fait des sensibilisations envers les parents, c'est important. Parce que les filles, elles sont à l'école, mais aussi elles sont à la maison. s'il n'y a pas un suivi à la maison, si on n'a pas sensibilisé les parents, ça peut ne pas avoir une régularité. Ça peut avoir des cassures et ça peut amener des problèmes. Et c'est pourquoi nous avons créé ce qu'on appelle les AME, l'Association des mères éducatrices, qui sont nos représentants dans les communautés et qui interagissent avec les communautés pour les amener à être conscients, à prendre conscience de l'intérêt de l'éducation des filles, mais surtout la réussite des filles dans les séries scientifiques. Et nous sommes un pays où aujourd'hui l'espoir est permis avec la découverte du pétrole, du gaz. C'est des métiers qui sont là et nous ne voulons pas que les filles soient laissées en rade dans les formations au niveau dans ces domaines. Envers l'État aussi, nous faisons un plaidoyer pour qu'il y ait plus de bourses, plus d'émulation pour vraiment motiver les filles à aller à l'avant pour pouvoir vraiment réussir dans les séries scientifiques. Maintenant, le seul défi qui nous reste, c'est la réinsertion. C'est l'insertion de ces filles-là après la formation. Les former est une chose, mais les amener à trouver un métier aussi en est une autre. Je vous remercie de votre aimable attention.
D'accord. Moi, je voulais rapidement appuyer en tout cas ce que Madame a dit en termes de capacitation, des professeurs, des enseignants, en ce qui concerne les démonstrations pratiques. Il y a l'étude, puisque dans le cadre du projet, nous avons réalisé une étude de base sur la participation des filles dans les filières scientifiques, mathématiques et technologies, et pour pouvoir avoir au moins des données avérées, des données probantes sur, en tout cas, la thématique. Et cette étude a montré que les filles préfèrent les démonstrations pratiques en laboratoire plutôt que les cours théoriques. Si les SMT, les sciences mathématiques et technologiques, les filles préfèrent les démonstrations pratiques en laboratoire plutôt que les cours théoriques en classe. Donc, et c'est là aussi la principale difficulté parce que nous avons fait le point des laboratoires, des établissements ayant des laboratoires et des universités au Burkina Faso. On s'est rendu compte que plus de 80% des établissements scolaires du Burkina Faso n'ont pas de laboratoire opérationnel. Donc, voici ce qu'elle dit, c'est très très important. Il faut en tout cas renforcer cette capacitation des professeurs en matière de démonstration pratique et aussi il faut des investissements conséquents. Parce que pour mettre en place un laboratoire, l'équiper pour qu'il soit fonctionnel, vraiment ça nécessite un certain niveau d'investissement. Merci beaucoup.
Now, before we give to all the team, maybe, just maybe, we'll give back the mic to Makomish. There's something maybe she wants to wrap up a bit, and then we can just have something that maybe you really wanted to speak about, or you want to tie together, and then we'll also give to Faith Karanja, and then we'll now open. I think we'll still 5 minutes. As they walk, the time for walking, we'll use it here for our discussion before we go. So please, Makomish, come.
Okay, maybe I'll just speak from here. Just extremely quickly, I think what was so interesting was hearing about the need for comprehensive interventions. And I've specifically noted the need to really work around teachers and also the link between STEM and the labor market, ensuring that we focus on the end goal as well so that we can help ensure that the training goes better. Thanks.
Yeah, I also totally agree, and I just want to say that when it comes to ensuring that the girls and the women get the right jobs, what that translates to is that we need to ensure that they have the right skills. So we need to rethink the education, we need to rethink how we impart the skills and the knowledge that they require for the 21st century. And so I think this is very relevant, and I think this is a conversation that we need to continue to have. Thank you.
Now, I think because of time, we'll be open we'll start here. Say your name, and then from there the question or the comment or observation.
Thank you for giving me the floor. I'm Professor Jacqueline Chakunte. I'm from Cameroon. I'm a lecturer at the University of Yaoundé 1. I teach geology. And I want to say that I watched all the presentation and I realized that all the survey were focused on high school and university. I want to propose to say that l'attrait pour les filières scientifiques commence depuis l'éducation de base, au niveau du primaire. Parce que je prends l'expérience quand j'étais à l'école primaire, le professeur, l'enseignant avait fait le côté fort et le côté faible. Ceux qui ne connaissaient pas le calcul, on les mettait faibles et nous, on était au côté fort. Et du coup, ceux qui ne connaissaient pas calculer étaient déjà frustrés. Dès qu'on arrive en 6e, ils sont déjà bloqués, ils sont déjà découragés. Donc, je voudrais proposer que les présentations ou bien les enquêtes qui ont été faites par l'UNESCO dans tous les pays là, qu'on essaye de mettre l'emphase sur le primaire depuis l'éducation, l'attrait pour les filières scientifiques depuis le primaire, pour inciter les jeunes filles à accéder aux filières scientifiques. Je vous remercie.
Maybe we take, okay.
Une intervention, ok. Je suis Passi Kourouman de la Guinée. J'étais dans l'autre salle, on est parti me chercher pour que je puisse parler un peu. Effectivement, par rapport aux sciences et techniques, la Guinée fait beaucoup de choses. D'abord, nous passons par la sensibilisation des filles elles-mêmes. Et on les sensibilise, on leur fait comprendre que l'enseignement technique porte fruit. Et on leur montre des femmes modèles qui ont déjà fait ces études-là et qui ont vraiment prospéré. Donc là, ensuite, nous, dans le système, nous leur donnons des bourses. D'abord au primaire, l'encadrement par les cours de soutien dans les filières scientifiques que nous allons dire les filières fondamentales. Donc on les encadre avec des enseignants spécialisés qui leur donnent des cours et qui les suivent. Et même dans le cadre du projet de IFEFA, on l'a fait, le soutien aux filles. Ensuite, nous travaillons avec l'enseignement technique, le ministère de l'enseignement technique. Là, on cible les filières que nous disons porteuses d'emploi pour les filles et les garçons, mais en encourageant les filles toujours, parce qu'elles ont peur d'aller dans ces filières-là. Parce qu'on dit que c'est des filières masculines et elles ont ça dans leur tête. Il faut les sensibiliser et leur faire comprendre que la fille peut être performante comme le garçon dans ces filières-là. Donc, on travaille avec le ministère de l'enseignement technique. Nous ciblons, avec le projet d'ANIDA par exemple, nous avons ciblé les institutions d'enseignement professionnel et où vraiment, après la sortie, on espère que les filles peuvent avoir un emploi rapidement et faire l'enseignement technique. Et là aussi, nous travaillons avec les enseignants. Nous donnons des bourses aux filles qui sont dans ces écoles-là et on les encadre. Et il y a aussi un autre aspect, c'est leur accompagnement. On fait une affiliation de ces filles dans l'enseignement, dans ces institutions. Par exemple, dans mon pays, les zones minières, il y a des écoles professionnelles qui sont affiliées à ces zones, à ces entreprises minières. On leur demande de vraiment prendre certaines filles dès qu'elles finissent. Nous avons des projets comme la CBG, ainsi de suite. Donc, c'est cette affiliation aussi, on insiste. Mais j'avoue qu'il y a toujours des problèmes. Hein. Après l'accompagnement, après tout ce processus-là, il y a des filles qui se retrouvent sans emploi. Ça aussi, c'est un problème que nous devons vraiment chercher à réfléchir. Je sais que ça ne dépend pas de Fawe, c'est un problème national. C'est un problème national, mais il faut qu'on y réfléchisse. Merci.
All right, now please let's clap for her, the professor, and also another professor here for their comments. Now our brother here, at least we hear a voice from you.
Thank you very much for portioning me this time. I'm Timothy Kamau, working with the Summer Institute of Linguistics. My neighbor here has put it very clear, but I want to comment on two things. One, in the morning we heard that Fawe focuses on access. So even going the STEM way, let's also focus on access at the rudimentary level, as she has said, so that we can see access available to both. Why? If you look at the higher levels, courses that are science-based courses or ICT have the least number of people qualified, whether boys or girls. So if we improve access at the base, then we'll widen that bracket. That's one. Two, and this is the question now I'm asking any of the presenters, is there proven research on the place of language in STEM performance or in performance of STEM? I'm saying this because I've read researches from here in Kenya where they have tried to teach those science subjects in mother tongue, in local languages at the lower levels, and children perform much better than what is the second language at the beginning. And that's why I'm also saying the thing of going low. Finally, I laud all the presenters for acknowledging the place of advocacy in all what we are doing, right from the plenary to this session that we are having. Thank you.
All right, maybe we give to the two presenters to respond to some of the issues, and then we take a few more.
Oui, juste rapidement, je vais d'abord répondre à la question de Madame du Cameroun. Donc, effectivement, je pense qu'on est tous d'accord qu'il faut commencer tôt. La recherche que j'ai présentée, on a justement vu ce qui se passait chez les enfants, même avant l'âge de l'entrée au primaire, et après des enfants entre 9 et 13 ans. Donc, je pense qu'on voit là que c'est vraiment à ce moment-là que les choses se forment. Mais effectivement, l'intervention que ma collègue a présentée a plutôt lieu au niveau du secondaire. Donc effectivement, je pense qu'on prend note et c'est quelque chose qu'on va en parler dès notre retour. Then just quickly on the question about mother tongue STEM education. I mean, all of the UNESCO studies show that, yes, absolutely, we promote mother tongue based multilingual instruction. So I think that it's very clear that that is the best way forward.
Yeah, in terms of increasing the bracket for mentorship going to secondary schools, I think that would be a brilliant, or to primary school, I think that would be brilliant. But again, it would require repackaging, you know, the mentorship and the training, because at that level, one also needs to realize, you know, the kind of impact that one needs to have. So I think that is important. So I think that's the only thing I would wish to add, because my colleague has already talked about the other thing about the mother tongue. But again, just one quick one. When it comes to mother tongue with STEM, you find that you may not have direct translation for some of the terms. So you may use mother tongue, but you still need to use the words that are, you know, just STEM. I remember when I went to Germany for my PhD, you know, I would go to some of the classes, and even as they teach in German, they will still mention some of those terminologies still in English, or the way they were, you know, they were conceived. So STEM is a very tricky field, but nevertheless, you know, mother tongue or hybrid still works. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup de m'accorder la parole. Je pense que même qu'il y a, même si on parle d'encourager les filles dans les sciences, il y a, comment dire, une mauvaise habitude des enseignants. Là, je prends pour les mathématiques. Il y a des enseignants qui disent que les mathématiques sont difficiles et qu'elles sont abstraites. Moi, je suis mathématicienne, donc je suis professeure d'université. Il y a lieu d'enseigner les mathématiques avec des exemples concrets à l'appui, s'il vous plaît. Donc, il faut que nos enseignants puissent encourager, même nous-mêmes, les parents, que les mathématiques, c'est comme la biologie, c'est comme la chimie. Voilà ce que je voulais dire.
All right, now we take, please, just before we give another set of questions, there is this form to fill. Please don't leave here, you know, numbers count. Please don't leave here. They want to give the real sign up for your presence here. Okay, please, madam, your name and then the question or the issue or observation.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Margaret Karanja. I work for Kenya Revenue Authority is the main revenue collection agency in our country. I'm glad to be part of this conversation this evening. And I know we are talking about upscaling the uptake of STEM subjects by girls. I know we are talking about looking at the baseline where the education begins right from primary school. But what I want to propose to Fawe, because I know you are very good at coming up with innovations that can help to streamline the education system, is for the organization maybe to look at the kind of innovations that you can come up with to help assess the capability of a child right from when they are very young. Because what I know is that we are all wired very differently to do different things. Is it possible for Fawe to come up with those kind of innovations? And I know they could be available even in the advanced countries, where the capability and the abilities of a child can be assessed right from primary school, so that then you begin to develop the children right from the baseline. You develop them along a particular career path. That is what I would like to leave Fawe with.
Pass the mic to, we have only two last one, the young lady there. Oh, okay. We'll add the two last one.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Pamela. I'm a high school teacher. Also, I teach at the university. But I also want to emphasize the fact that when we are talking about STEM, let us not just talk about the teachers who are science-based teachers, because these students are influenced by both the science-based teachers and also the arts-based teachers. So even as Fawe crafts those innovations, please, I wish we could include the history teacher, the English teacher, the Kiswahili teacher, to talk positively about STEM to the girls, so that as the science teachers struggle to mentor them, the others are also supporting from their other side. Because I think that the trick is with the teachers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to give a recommendation. My name is Wilbert Hadula from Namibia. As I've attended in Namibia a conference of green hydrogen energy, but then it was a recommendation from Fawe, Kenya. So just want to recommend looking at observing that we have a lack of resources. They have pumped a lot of billions, over 100 in my country. Why don't we incorporate them to become a partner with Fawe and see how we can use them to become a partner or a sponsor to cater for this lack of resources that we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we finalize with you, and then we'll make a conclusion.
Thank you. Mon nom c'est Madame Ndiaye Amtagnan, ancienne boursière de Fawe Sénégal, membre du réseau des alumni de Fawe Sénégal. J'avais juste une petite question par rapport à l'insertion de ces jeunes filles qui ont eu à bénéficier du programme de leurs différents États. Est-ce qu'il y a un programme de suivi par rapport à ces jeunes filles, par rapport surtout à leur insertion après les études? Je vous remercie.
All right, I can back to my commission. Faith Karanja, can you try that question? Or maybe it was in French. They say your French is so good, it's like mine. All right, my commission, can you come, Sebia? That issue, if
Alors, je pense que cette question-là,
Oui.
c'est particulièrement pour Fawe.
Oui,
il me
for
semble.
Fawe, so it's
Oui,
not
parce
for
que
you.
c'est une question
Yes,
d'insertion.
for Fawe.
Pour,
Yeah.
oui. Donc, je ne sais pas s'il y a quelqu'un de Fawe qui
Oh, sorry, I thought you were
souhaite
with
répondre
Fawe.
à ça.
No, yeah,
Do you want me to respond to the other comments?
Yeah, the other comments also.
Okay, well, first of all, I love the idea about getting humanities teachers on board. I think that's a great one to take back. Just to the question about taking students very young, I mean, I think that all of the studies that we have show that children's mental makeup is very much influenced by their social and family background. So I think the tendency is more to go in the opposite direction, to try to not select and not say, right, we're going to put this child into this type of career path from an early age. So more to open it up so that they'll be then able to develop more transversal competencies that they will be able to use in a variety of different career paths, rather than taking them from a very early age and sort of streaming them out. But it's an interesting question, so thank you for raising it.
All right, anybody else who, now we want to conclude. Anybody else, maybe who has not spoken, said anything, and maybe has something very burning to say? All right, we give the mic to the young lady out there. Yeah, it's about them, so. And then we make concluding remarks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leah Wanjiru. I work with Nairobi Trust. I want to echo the insightful statements that have come from everyone in the room. Being that I work with a tech company and we implement tech projects, I appreciate the upscale of implementing tech STEMs. However, there's the monster in the room that I have not heard people mentioning about, which is integrating sexual education, because we have seen, and we throughout our implementation, we have seen the digital divide being a really big monster, because we find that girls drop out, especially during our programs. So if we can, this is an assignment or a takeaway for every stakeholder in the room. So as we go back to our implementation, kindly let's reconsider the integration of equipping our girls with sexual reproductive health and rights, because if we don't, then we risk high teenage pregnancies going up. We risk dropouts in school. So, yeah, that's my take.
Thank you. Now, please, I think, looks like I don't see Shem waving at me saying that it's time to go. Maybe they have given us a few more minutes until, we'll just continue until they call us. All right, it's time. It's time, eh? Okay, we are very late. So I would like to thank everybody. First of all, let's put our hands together and thank the two presenters. Commission Faith, thank you very much. And then let us also clap our hands for the discussant, for not the two presenters, it was Faith and McCormick and Camille Badin. Please, let's repeat again. Thank you. Thank you. And then for the discussant, please, let us clap for them. Thank you. You have something?
Une question je pense que, voilà, elle a posé une question qui est très très importante en matière de suivi, parce que c'est la plupart des projets, la faiblesse se trouve à ce niveau. Donc, le suivi des bénéficiaires. Et en ce qui concerne l'expérience du Fawe Burkina, donc dès le démarrage du projet, nous avons mis en place une base de données de suivi des bénéficiaires pour pouvoir capitaliser l'impact du projet. Donc, ce dispositif de suivi a été mis en place et ça nous a permis, j'ai présenté ici les résultats sous forme d'action, les résultats d'action. Donc, il y a une autre version où il y a des résultats sous forme d'impact, des signes de changement. Donc, ça nous a permis en tout cas de capitaliser, même après le projet, la durée de mise en œuvre du projet, de faire le suivi pour savoir exactement ces bénéficiaires, est-ce qu'elles ont pu en tout cas atteindre leurs objectifs en matière d'estime. Merci bien.
Got a good response there. Now, please let us put our hands together and clap for everyone and clap for yourself. So we look forward now to, if you have other questions, especially the questions for the young lady from Senegal, and also the young man who suggested something to Fawe. So we will take the questions there to the concluding session. So thank you very much. You have been wonderful people, and may the good Lord bless you and keep well, and let us make sure that our girls, they go into STEM. Thank you very much. So they say we are invited first for tea, so we can continue the conversation, and then after tea, we go to the final session. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Dana. So we now go to... Oh, thank you, Camille. Thank you. Merci. Merci beaucoup. Yeah. Thank you, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. sciences, by the way. They don't like nowadays. They want quick money.
Yes.
People